हेलो एवरीवन एंड वेलकम टू द स्ट्रेट लाइन। आज मेरे साथ हैं पारसा मुफ्ती। शी हैज जस्ट बीन सिलेक्टेड एज अ श्वाजमन स्कॉलर एंड इनसे बात करेंगे कि एज द फर्स्ट JNK रेजिडेंट टू बी सिलेक्टेड एंड उसके बाद जिस तरीके का रिस्पॉन्स मिला है, जिस तरीके की इनकी एक्सपेक्टेशंस हैं ऑन बीइंग पार्ट ऑफ दिस प्रेस्टिजियस इंस्टीट्यूट एंड what is her aim now ki what does she want to do once she goes there, once she interacts with all the people and जो लोग इस कॉम्पिटिटिव प्रोसेस से होकर गुजरे हैं और साथ ही में एक विजन रखते हैं वर्ल्ड को लेकर, एक विजन रखते हैं हाउ दे वांट टू मेक द सोसाइटी अ बेटर प्लेस। तो पारसा, वेलकम टू स्ट्रेट लाइन।
Hi Pallavi, how are you?
आई एम गुड। पारसा, सबसे पहले यही तो कि व्हेन यू वर अप्लाइंग फॉर दिस श्वासमन स्कॉलरशिप, हाउ डिड यू गेट टू नो अबाउट इट? क्या ऑलरेडी आपके माइंड में था that you were planning for applying for some fellowships and scholarships? Did someone tell you about it? Did you find out about it from the grapevine, from the social media? कैसे मालूम चला?
I had actually known about this scholarship for a long time. I remember there was this scholar जो 2 या 3 साल पहले select हुए थे, तो उनके tweets में देखती थी and उनके experiences के बारे में उन्होंने काफी post किया था, तो मैंने पढ़ा था. So it seemed very interesting to me that this is a scholarship which wants to basically hire, I mean, get people who can be leaders and who they want to train them for the same. So I thought, okay, this is something new. Um, so I researched a bit on it, and I also saw that it's a very selective scholarship. So I was
Mm-hmm.
quite apprehensive about applying. तो काफी सालों तक तो I didn't even consider applying. But after I started working, and I've been working for 2 years now. Um, so my organization, Samruddh Bharat Foundation, my director there, and also my colleagues, they thought that I'm quite suitable for this scholarship. So they really convinced me to apply. And after that, I thought, okay, let me give it a shot, and then I got selected.
How do you align it with your goals? समृद्ध फाउंडेशन के साथ you're working, तो जब तक आप इस स्कॉलरशिप के साथ यहाँ पर engaged रहेंगी, your work will obviously suffer. So how will you be able to manage it both? और जब आप apply कर रहे थे, were you thinking beforehand कि if I do get selected, I'll have to make some alternate arrangements. I'll have to figure out whether this taking a small break from my regular work is going to work out for me or not.
Yeah, so of course, if I were going for just another studies or just another course, if I were just going purely to study, that would have been 1 year away from work. But this course is not that. This is actually something which will enhance my profile. This is something which will actually train me, and the skill set that I develop there will help me with my job. So that's why it was beneficial for me, and that's why I considered applying. Of course, there will be 1 year away from India, so I will not be able to work as much as possible. But I will always be a Samruddh Bharat ambassador, because this place has made me what I am. This place made me worthy of being chosen for such a prestigious scholarship. So, and the work, whatever I learn there will be in sync with my work, because Samruddh Bharat Foundation is ideological project, and what um, basically we are trying to re-engineer India for the future. We are trying to make India something which is in alignment with our constitutional values. And if I get trained to be a global leader, if I get trained in policy and international relations, of course, it's going to help me with my career.
Mm-hmm. You're already a lawyer, so well versed with what our constitution stands for. But when you joined the Samruddh Bharat Foundation, what did you learn there, and how has it helped shape who you are today?
I have learned so much. Honestly, I haven't learned that much in my 5 years or 6 years of college than I did in in my work. Most importantly, I learned what India truly is, the beauty of India, the diversity, and also our society, the various nitty gritties of our society, and from everything. It could be the positives and it could be the negatives, but there were things that, as you know, sometimes we're privileged and we're not aware of those factors. And in my work there, I understood that those factors very, very well. I came in contact with experts, activists, academics who had been researching and studying certain subjects for years and years, and through them I also got trained. So every meeting that I had through work, every little thing that I did, I learned something new. It was like I was basically earning and studying at the same time. So that is what helped me a lot. And I think I'll keep that knowledge is now like my treasure chest, you can say. I can use that in my life like for years to come.
Parsa, you come from Jammu and Kashmir, and though you have not lived here for a very long time, but you still belong here. Your roots are from Jammu and Kashmir. So, do you think that adds to your perspective of India and what you think India should stand for?
Of course, I have lived there for 17 years. I mean, I lived in Jammu. I did my schooling there. So I was there till my 12th. So, of course, I've spent a lot of time there, and uh, it adds to my perspective. I mean, that is part of my identity. You can't really erase where you come from or where you've lived. Those are your lived experiences, and they shape you as a person. And in fact, they shape what career also you choose, because of how your mind works and how you think. So of course, I will, wherever I go, I will always be known as someone who's from Jammu and Kashmir, and that will always be part of my identity.
Let's talk about the Schwarzman scholarship process because it's really competitive. So, when you applied for it, let us walk through that entire process. What happened? How did did you get help from somewhere? Were there people who were helping you with your application, or did you just plan it on your own, do it on your own, take tips from people who had already been selected before? How did you like work on your personal essay and all these things that many people who would further want to apply for this scholarship would want to know about? Like, how did you do this? How did you do that?
So in May, the applications opened, so I started working on them. Of course, there are different requirements. There are essays, a lot of written material. There is a video that you have to submit of yourself, your CV. So your CV has to be very strong. All of these things you have to start preparing in advance. Most important is your statement of purpose. And I mean, I wrote my statement of purpose in May, and till September, I was editing it almost every other day. I was adding something or deleting something. So it's a tedious process for sure. But after that, once you submit your application in September, in October, you're told whether you are shortlisted for the interview or not. And then out of some 400 people who were selected for the interview, out of that 150 get finally 150
Mhm.
finally become the scholars. So that process ends in November when you're finally told that. So, most important is your CV, your essays, your recommendations, and then, of course, in the interview, they see if you are really if you're really the person that you've shown in the application. So that, and I did take help. Again, my colleagues, my director, really helped me, guided me throughout the process, because sometimes what happens is we don't know our own strengths. We
Mhm.
need someone to tell us what exactly our strengths are, and this is what happened. So everyone at my organization really helped me. And of course, other scholars. So there is a scholar from South Africa. She is in the current cohort. Her name is Anathi. She has a YouTube channel. So she was the only person who had a video on how to go through the entire process, and which was very helpful for me. I even
Mhm.
contacted her for more details. So, I mean, of course, the scholars are very helpful, to be honest. If you contact any person who's been part of the scholarship, they'll always be ready to help you. So, I did look at her video, I spoke to her, I looked at scholars who had written certain articles about it. So, that really helped me.
What things would you suggest that if a person is applying, what should they keep in mind while writing their statement of purpose, while writing their personal essay, while writing what their vision is if they become a part of the scholarship? So, what did you have in mind, and what would you suggest others keep in mind while applying?
Most important is be authentic. If you try to be someone you're not, or if you're just trying to basically make your application very fluffy, uh, you might do that, but you should know that you're competing with the best of the best. There are students from Oxford, from Harvard, from Stanford, that level
Mhm.
of people, students you're competing with. So they will also have very flowery applications. So what is it that makes you stand out? So if your authenticity will make you stand out, what your unique perspective will make you stand out. So focus on that. And of course, your CV has to be strong. So your internships, the articles that you've written, any additional work that you've done, social work, anything that adds to your application. So first, most importantly, see that you've done enough to show there, because that is important. And then, of course, they will verify everything. They will see your capabilities through your application and the interview.
And what about the interview process? Was it like nerve wracking for you to be interviewed regarding everything that you had written, or was it easy for you because you had already mentioned everything that you had done? So they already had an idea of who you are. Now it was just time to test whether or not you triple under pressure.
No, in fact, the interview was even more scary than any other, I mean, the entire process. Why? Because I knew that my application was strong. So if I fail in the interview, it's entirely, because of me, because everything else I had done properly. So I had to ace it. But and if it were a one-on-one interview, it wouldn't be so scary. But there were at least 8 people on that panel, and those 8 people are the you can say the best of the best from their respective fields. There are people from the Boston Consulting Group. There are ministers of different countries. There are academics from the topmost universities of the world. So, I mean, it is like you're being put on the spot by people who will just spot whether you're good enough in 1 second. So that was extremely nerve wracking. But I should mention that the interview was very good. I mean, I was very, very comfortable. All my fears just dissipated once I started talking to everyone because they were very warm and friendly.
And now that you've been selected, you're going to be away from India for over a year. And being in Beijing, do you have any apprehensions? Are you like planning ahead? And just because we know about China a little bit, you're not going to be able to use any social media. There's going to be a complete shift in culture, complete shift in what you know and what you're going to experience now. So, what is on your mind?
I think that's the most exciting part. That it'll be a complete shift. It's something that every person I think needs or should get in their lives once, because that kind of exposure. And China is something completely different. It's not like going to the UK or the US. It's a complete cultural shift. It's a complete language shift. It's just an entire different experience. And I'm quite fortunate that I'll be able to have that and study in Tsinghua University, which is one of the best universities in the world. I'm looking forward to, because the scholars are a very diverse group of people. There are students from every country. There are people, professionals from every country. So I'll get to network with so many people. The advisory board of the scholarship is, I mean, people from Henry Kissinger to Tony Blair. These are the kind of people that I'll be meeting and speaking to us. So I'm very, very excited about it.
But that reminds me, why China? Why Schwarzman scholarship? You could have applied for Rhodes. You could have applied for a scholarship in Europe or Germany, anywhere. Why China?
As I said before, this is one of, I think, the very few scholarships that are not focused on students or just on academics. This scholarship is not about studies only. This is about your skill development. This is about your leadership capabilities. They're basically training leaders of the future. So they're not just making you study books. You're not restricted to
Mm-hmm.
that. You're there for networking. You're there for your lived experiences. You're there for gaining not just knowledge but also skills. So that's why this scholarship stands out.
In the end, like, what would you suggest to so many people, so many students out there who are actually, really confused about what they want to do in life, even though they're passionate about something, they don't really pursue it, thinking that I might not be capable enough, I might not be good enough. Did you ever have those kinds of thoughts while you were applying or while you were doing something that you were really passionate about, but thinking whether or not I'll be able to do it, whether I'm capable enough, whether I have the good enough skill set? Did you ever have those kinds of queries in your own mind?
Yes, of course. And I would just like to say that don't put too much pressure on yourself. You have one life, and that one life is not to prove to someone that you're good. You all you do is just for your own self. So don't take the pressure of other people's satisfaction or happiness on yourself. Also, you're free to change your mind. Just because you thought that you'll become something in 10th standard or 12th standard doesn't mean you have to stick to that path if you're unhappy. Change lanes, because the world is transitioning by the minute. We're not in the same world that we were in just 2 years back. After the COVID, everything has changed drastically. So I think we need to keep up with the times. So follow your heart. What do you think makes you happy? What is the line of work that you think will be most authentic to you, close to your heart, something that you will never tire of, something that you will be happy doing for the rest of your life? So, your job is something that you can't really just, quit on a whim. It's something you have to stick with. So, you have to be very careful about that decision. But then again, don't put too much pressure on yourself. If you want to change your career's mid lane, if you feel like, what you're doing is not in sync with your dreams, do it. It's fine. but because when you're happily doing something, you're more likely to achieve success. So I will just say, just don't put too much pressure on yourself. It's, often the journey is more beautiful than the destination. So enjoy that journey.
Thank you, Parsa, for giving us time, and congratulations once again. We hope you all the best for all your future endeavors, and hopefully, when you come back from China, you'll have so many other new experiences to share.
Thank you, Pallavi. Thank you for having me. And it was a lovely interview.